Hello, everyone. Welcome to NPC. Tyler, here we are. Sunday this go around. Last week it was Saturday, so we're changing it up. But hello, welcome to everyone joining us live this week. Clamp Champ, we're going to put him under the spotlight and talk all things Clamp Champ, one of our favorite characters in the franchise. Period.
The most unsung heroes of the line, and kind of makes you wonder, like with the current lines of He-Man toys, are people even familiar with him, or do they remember him, or is he just or is he more remembered than than I would be led to believe by the current fan base, which I have no idea what it exists like, or what it what it looks like is what I should say,
Well,
since I'm so
I
far
guess
removed.
that's a question we pose not only to you watching us live, but after the fact. Leave us a comment down below and tell us your history with Clamp Champ and how he resonates today. I actually have a joke that I was going to use later because we're going to go through figure history and of course origins lies within that. Go to your local Ollie's. You should be able to find you a Clamp Champ figure. No problem. I've seen him plenty of time. I think he's about $10. So if you are missing a Clamp Champ in your Origins collection, go to Ollie's if you got one. But Tyler, tell me your history with Clamp Champ here.
No, I've shared this before, so people who have heard it before, just bear with me. But for those who haven't, um, it was on the back of the Faker that I got at KB Toys, I think in '88. I just remember seeing the cross-out artwork of him on the back, which I'm pretty sure came with the Search for Kildare comic, because that's what Faker came with at the time. But I have no memory of that mini comic. But the cross-out artwork, I'm like, oh my God, there's a black character, and he's a good guy, and I couldn't read, so I just saw he had like this pincher weapon. That's all that, and it was just this muscle bound black guy, and I was intrigued from that day on. Like, I had never saw anyone own the figure. Like, I would see other kids with He-Man figures at daycare, or come across like discarded toys at other kids' houses, like in the late '80s and early '90s. But I never saw anybody that owned Clamp Champ. Never mentioned him by name, and I never knew what his name was until I think it was when I was really my mindset was made up. I'm going to collect this line and get every figure I never had, every vehicle I didn't have. He was the first one I purchased when I was like dead serious about it, and I was hoping it was in the a print ad of Figures Inc. As I mentioned before, it was a toy store in New Jersey that was selling vintage toys, like Silver Hawks, $20 a piece, He-Man figures, $20 a piece, just real cheap. But back then, when you had no money, $20 was, it might as well have been a month's rent.
Yeah.
And I looked at who they had. There was no pictures, just a list of names. I thought, Clamp Champ. Like, I wonder if that's that black character I've always wanted to know more about. And I did. This was before the internet. I had no internet. All I had to do was just go by an assumption. So I sent a money order to this Figures Inc. And lo and behold, probably a month or a month and a half later, I get a package, and it's from Figures Inc. And it is indeed who I thought it was, Clamp Champ. And I was just enthralled and mesmerized by finally owning this character that had eluded me, that had left me wanting. I wanted to know so much about this character, and learn to find out he's at the tail end of it. Not a whole lot was done about the character, but he was a cool looking character. He's a black character. Love the diversity, the natural diversity, not the forced diversity that's done in today's media and stuff like that, where it's just like, whatever. It's more organic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Because I'm all about that. Um, and and then come to find out too, he was one of the would become one of the more rare figures, because he's part of that last wave. And
Yeah.
so I was thrilled enough to know that I've got him. I had the mini comic that he came with, because I did open the package, because I was like, I had no other access to knowing what the mini comic looked like. I wanted to have him set aside with the other vintage figures that I had. And yeah, I became more and more infatuated with, like, wanting to see him utilized more. And eventually when He-Man.org came along, you'd see that he was used in promotional material, like posters, some of the comic books and UK stuff, but nothing that really blew me away. But I was intrigued by the idea that he was going to be King Randor's bodyguard, which I thought that was a really cool concept. Then I, over the years, would think about, where did this guy come from? Like, what are his origins? And I had all kinds of like ideas in my head for my own personal like uh mythology as a fan of like where this character would have come from. And I made sure like when I started buying artwork from Axel Jimenez, like I wanted Clamchamp to be in the first one that I ever had done. And I've I've included him in a few illustrations over the years too. So I'm like, I just want to see characters like him who aren't talked about much or utilized that much. I want them like front and center. And it's never stopped since then. It was just this constant infatuation with this character I knew nothing about. But I'm like, he's human. He doesn't have any like, no gimmick
Right.
outside of his weapon. But then you find out in the mini comic he has enhanced senses, which was quite fascinating too. So I like the fact that he's next to Fisto, the most human of the heroic warriors. Now, I mean, Man at Arms, of course, too, but where he's not like Buzz Off, he's not Mechanic, he's not Mossman, he's not Snout Spout or Rio Blast. He is a very strong, muscular dude with a weapon that clamp on his opponents. But I just thought there's so much more. I don't know. I feel like it's like an empty palette to play around with. Like no one has utilized like this great idea and concept of a character. I'm like, man, there's so much fun to be had with this character, I think.
Yeah. My first experience with him, honestly, I may have seen him in passing, probably missing his armor and accessory at flea markets and stuff over the years. I really don't think I knew who Clamp Champ was until it was meeting you, seeing your collection, but I don't really think it resonated with me until the classics line came out and I saw him on your shelf and I was like, oh, who is that?
Yeah.
I think there's just something about the color scheme too, the reds and blues that really pop as well. But my experience with him, not nearly as integrated as yours. God, thinking about the money orders, which those month and a half wait times, don't miss those days. Yeah, the snail mail days back then. I just ordering anything, especially our early days of eBay, because you brought up money orders. I was doing the same thing because once I started getting into eBay, and my first purchase was actually the 2000X Man at Arms figure, and I won that on a bid. And I remember just like, I did it, I won. And then, you get the money order, and then you just have to wait because the money order's got to get to them, then they get it, then they send you the product. It's not a simultaneous interaction anymore.
Oh man, because I forgot too, like of the early days of eBay. Like, yeah, I think the summer before senior year, and then of course the summer after we graduated was spent on eBay looking for He-Man toys, like constantly, like or anything that I didn't own. And that the money order thing, of course, I guess it goes back to like eighth grade.
Yeah.
I was sending money orders to that place in Jersey to get He-Man figures. I got Night Stalker mint in box. I bought Donatello mint on card from them for $20.
God.
Like an original from 1988. I think it was a soft hit too, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah, but I mean, we're still in those time at that time period. We're only roughly 10 to maybe 15 years max removed from these properties and being super duper relevant. So the demand for them is not nearly as high as it is today, all these
no,
years later. So yeah, to get all that stuff really, really cheap, I would love to go back in time, even just to get stuff for $20 instead of paying to 200.
oh yeah, and it was it was almost, I guess I said almost. I mean, it was a pretty damn big high too, because you just sit and wait. I would do a lot of this in the summer. So yeah, when we're out of school, you have nothing but time, and you send a money order, and you wait for the mail to come. You wait for the mail to come, like nothing, and you're like, great, now I got to do this all over again.
And there
The
wasn't
next day,
there wasn't even like tracking really available then either.
no,
So you're just doing that and just like crossing your
yeah,
fingers that you're
that's
gonna
all it
come home
was.
today and there's the package.
Yeah, I could think of so many times too where I thought, okay, it didn't come, and I remember when I ordered Night Stalker, the mail truck passed. I was like, damn it,
Yeah.
So I go upstairs and Derek comes up a little later, like, "Hey, there's a package here for you." And I guess it came by UPS instead. And because I just thought, okay, there's your shot for the day. You got to wait another 24 hours for that shot for that
Yeah.
figure to show up.
Yeah.
And it was just nice surprises like that, and it really meant everything to get Mosquito, the Horde Trooper, Clan Champ,
If you were
Extendar.
smart about it, you would have got multiple Horde Troopers.
Well, when you have $20 and it
I
takes
know.
forever to get that,
Limited
and
limited funds, man. You
limited
got
funds because it was
yeah.
either allowance, and I think around the time I was starting to mow yards, but even then, like it got to where like the money you earned, like that's it.
That's it.
You're not getting anything else from parents. There's no birthdays around, no special occasions. Like you spend that money, you got to wait till the following week when you either earn more or you may get that allowance.
I had a weekly allowance, but back in high school, I used to sometimes purposely not eat during lunch and just keep the lunch money that they gave me and just save that up over time so I could buy like a video game that was coming out in a couple months.
God, I couldn't have done that. I had to have. Well, then I packed my lunch, so that wasn't even an option anyway. But like
Yeah.
that's still that's a testament to how determined you were to get.
Well,
Uh,
especially in high school because they had like the a la carte stuff or they had like
yeah,
the snack shack. So I'm
yeah.
like,
Oh
all
yeah,
right,
getting Fruitopia and donuts.
yeah. So I'm like, all right, I have this amount of money. If I just get this one thing and that's it, and then just because we got water fountains, I can go and get this and just get some water. Totally fine. I'll kick back another $2. So that's I would just work that and save so I could go buy video games.
But I look back at that at those times. I don't know if you did. Maybe I don't know if you're listening, but it was a fondness looking back at it because you were building to something you really, really wanted to have.
Yeah.
When the money was so limited, like you don't have a job, or if you do, you're getting maybe $5, $10, or if you're lucky, maybe $20 for an odd job around the house or mowing yards or something
Or
like that. And
babysitting or whatever.
yeah, anything, whatever it took as a kid back then, um, to get money to get whatever it is you were after, and it was it had its pros and cons. Like you spend that money, okay, well now you're done. You
Yeah.
can't
Got
go get comics. You can't get any more action figures. You can't go to the movies or whatever the case. Like you spent that money on that, and but
yeah.
when it arrives in the mail or you get to go to the store and finally get it, it's a big deal. And I look back, is tumultuous as it was back then, and that waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping it'll show up today. It's fond memories, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I look
I
back at
agree.
with a lot of fondness, and it was a lot of that intense excitement for a new He-Man figure to arrive in the late '90s. When thinking like nobody else cares about He-Man, I'm the only person on this planet probably who cares about He-Man. No one else knows. Well, I don't remember that. That's that old kitty shit, or whatever.
Then you got the internet and you found the org and you're like, there's more people like me out there.
Yeah, I mean, just that first Adam Tyner website with just pictures, and then the org shows up. It's like, oh my god, like it really just wanted to tell everyone else around. Like, see, I'm not the only one. I'm not the weirdo here. You guys are.
Well, speaking of pictures, Tyler, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
dig into this. Get into the Clamp Champ. So here we are. This is an advertisement, and most of the images that I pulled are from Battle Ram blog. So I highly recommend that you go check out that website, look up the Clamp Champ article because it's got more that you can read about instead of visually look at. But we're just mainly going to concentrate on the pictures as we do and talk about it. But let's zoom in on this. Heroic Warriors, new TV advertising, 3 figures to join He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Prince of Adam, Tila, and Orko this year. Introducing King Randor, the leader of Eternia, with the Power Punch Clamp Champ, who can clamp down on evil, and Sorceress, the Wing Woman Wizard. 4-color blister cards. So
Which I always loved having to advertise the He-Man figures with these rocky terrains and things like that. I always wanted to have something like that to use for my He-Man figures or my GI Joes because they would be advertised in such a way that just, oh my god, like I have to have that. And look at that awesome battleground, like I want that. And they did that with all the He-Man toys. Like they're I don't know if you ever saw it. It's been on YouTube for years. When the '86 wave was announced, they had this big unveiling at a mall, and you had to walk into this tunnel and you see the entire roster of the '86 wave, from the Eternity play set to all the figures, all the vehicles on display, and this big narration's booming, and spotlighting every character that's coming down the pipeline, which is ironic because that would be the first of the beginning of the end.
Hmm.
But just that awesome diorama of this rocky terrain with Grayskull and Snake Mountain, the three towers, and I just love that Mattel really did a great job. Well, everybody did back then in terms of like for catalog advertisings and toy commercials, like seeing these characters in the commercials and advertising in a world that looked like this fits Masters of the Universe, like
Yeah.
just right there, with the purple background, like purple sky, and this rocky terrain he's standing on. Like that's just awesome. It's simple, but it kicks so much ass, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, talking about that setup that they had, yeah, I've seen stuff like that, and then I shared with you that Ghostbuster one, and just
Yeah. Oh my
all
god,
the
that
all
was
the effort
amazing.
that they put into those back in the day. I mean, you see some of that replicated now, and when they do toy fairs and all these reveals, some companies will go out and do really cool visual dioramas and everything. That hey, this is what's coming out, check it out. But yeah, it was a different beast back then. I feel like because that you're competing in the toy aisle, and back
Yeah.
then that was the mecca. There were no online retailers, so yeah,
No, and even that. Oh man, I love this crossover artwork. I just this is what motivated me was this image on the back of the Faker blister card. Man, was seeing this. I'm like, oh my god, who is this?
yeah. I'm highlighting a lot of the comments we got in the chat that I'll share later
Okay,
on when we're finished up. But yeah,
and I had no idea what his weapon was. It just something that pinches things. I didn't understand because that's all. I'm just looking at this small image on the back of the card,
yeah,
and I didn't know until I think I was a teenager that it was meant to grab a hold of opponents and latch on to them, or stop them. And I just thought it's such a cool. It's like it's a big weapon on this guy, which just it fits him. You just easily picture a guy that looks like this. Yeah, of course he's like kind of like Blaine and Predator. He's carrying like the big minigun. Like
yeah.
this is the equivalent of that in He-Man. It's just this massive clamp weapon. It
What
just looks
was
so imposing.
what was the deal with not only Clamp Champ but King Randor in this wave? That a lot of time there were scuffs on the nose, and just the nose in particular.
I'd say probably just due to how it was manufactured. Because
Okay.
the head sculpt on Clamp Champ is like a more of a softer material.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else, like the head on like Mosquito or Blade, Saurod, the Sorceress, I think even King Randor. I mean, because it's pretty much it's a more harder material, but for whatever reason, Clam Champ's head was just made with a more softer material, and I don't know why. I don't know why he was the only one with that kind of different material for the head sculpt, and
Yeah.
maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass, but um,
I've just noticed on a lot of vintage Clamp Champs and vintage King Randors, there's always that scuff on the
yeah.
nose. There's just like this worn spot there. So I
Hang
was
on,
just
I
curious.
have to go. Excuse me for once. I got to check something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, I just assume that he's gonna go. He's gonna probably grab his vintage figure off the wall, his men on card, so he can show off to everyone. I guess I can start showing off some of these comments you guys have left here. Johnny Cox saying he didn't know who Clamp Champ was until I started following this podcast. Well, I'm glad that we were able to just kind of make you aware of who the character is, and if you want to like start buying figures or something, because I am that way, that when it gets into stuff like that, when I start to learn about things, or if I'm starting to watch a new show, when I get into it, I'm like, is there an action figure of this? And then that's when I go on eBay and I start looking, and it just opens up a world of possibilities of just, oh great, more stuff that I'm gonna pick up and buy. Like trying to think right offhand. Well, it's like Pee Wee's Playhouse, for example. We talked about Pee Wee's Playhouse that one time. I'm like, well, I already have all those Matchbox figures. What else is there? And then I started looking up some more stuff. I thought you were going to go grab your Men on Card Clamp Champ.
Oh no! If people want to see that, it's right over here.
Oh, okay.
No, no. I feel like I've done it so many times. If people have been watching for a long time, like, oh my god, this podcast is not a show and tell podcast. I'll just tell you that right now, guys.
But I had highlighted a comment from Johnny saying he didn't know who Clamp Champ was until he started watching this show. So that's it's
Well,
cool that
hopefully, Johnny, you become more accustomed and are appreciating what we preach so much on this show about why this character should be recognized a lot more.
So here is Clamp Champ Minnow card, a little more beat up than the one that Tyler has sitting right
Yeah,
beside him. But yeah, I mean, just check out. I love this
the Bruce
artwork.
Tim artwork's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Maybe I kind of wonder if maybe the scuffs on the noses is like me. Was there enough wiggle room in the bubble package that it could maybe like the head would at least press forward on the
I
plastic
don't
and
think
maybe
so.
rub against there
I'll
repeatedly?
just look at
Yeah,
mine real quick.
just go ahead and show it off.
Oh no, there's plenty of room here.
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
if you can kind of see,
All
like
right.
right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can never get that right, but you can see there's plenty of breathing room for his
Man.
head.
Look how I mean that's minty right there.
Yes,
That's,
it is. It even came with the acrylic case. I bought it like this.
Man,
So
nuts.
I'm pretty damn proud of this purchase, to say the least.
You should be. We did Papa Huds with the question here. Who did the artwork again?
Bruce Tim.
Bruce
He did.
Timm.
He did the front. Errol McCarthy did the back.
Yeah. Which
So if you look at the '87 wave, they all have got an illustration on the front of Faker, King Brandor, the Sorceress, Blade,
Yeah.
Sora. Like Bruce Tim did all of those, and then Errol McCarthy did the ones on the back.
Yeah. So here is the back of the card.
And again, this solidifies more of a rivalry between Clamp Champ and Ninjor. Like it's just hinted at. It's not really. Oh, not even hinted at in the mini comic. They just pit them against each other, and then you got him here, and then the commercial they're featuring in here in the states. It's just the two of them, and it's like I don't know if they were doing it deliberately or they just happened to coincidentally just pair these two together and advertising. Hey, there's Ninjor, there's Clamp Champ, yeah, this collection of badasses on the '87 cards. It's just
And they tell you the action feature of the pincher accessory and how to best remove the chest armor, and then you can twist his waist for power punches.
And behold, he has got the Carl Weathers physique underneath the Fisto armor there.
Yeah, which
I like these. What's that? Go ahead.
I was gonna say we've always said like Carl Weathers would have been an amazing Clamp Champ.
Nobody. Maybe today Michael J. White, but I still say Carl Weathers, God rest his soul, was always meant to play Clamp Champ. I'd have cast Carl Weathers in anything and everything.
But yeah,
but I always
Terraclaw, Scareglow, Snake Man, Faker.
It's and I like that during this time they would always have like a small box separated for the faction of the Snake Man. Like the Horde would kind of be mixed in or get their own.
Mm-hmm.
But the Snake Man would be featured with typically along with the Evil Warriors, like a small box, like 2 or 3 figures. I always thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, just an interesting story here. Like just looking at these two, and Ninjor looks really good on the back here.
Yeah.
I think
Casey Duncan saying here, it kind of looks like a swordsman pose.
It does look like a swordsman pose. Like I will say, I was, even though it's Clamp Champ and I love everything Clamp Champ, the pose, I feel like his left hand, I don't like. Why is it posed like that? It does look like he's in a sword fight, and maybe
on guard.
Yeah, and maybe it was repurposed for Clamp Champ. Maybe it was meant for a He-Man illustration, and it was repackaged as Clamp Champ. Because we know that the Leech mini comic was originally He-Man versus Skeletor, and it was repurposed that Larry Houston had drawn for a Leech versus He-Man cover. So maybe it's something like that. But it is a very swordsman-like pose. But like it almost looks like Clamp Champ he's drawn by someone different, and Ninjor looks like he's drawn by someone else.
Yeah.
The look of Ninjor looks vastly different than Clamp Champ's. I don't know why, but needless to say, it's just a nice, beautiful illustration of these guys fighting in a desert terrain in the middle of the day. Would have been better at night,
Yeah. I know Tyler, you're not a big fan of these, but here is the
No,
cover of issue 48 of the UK comic, which I might see what the story involves inside and see if it's kind of decent. Um, I figure maybe if anything, this just based off of the cover alone, maybe one you'd be like, all right, we'll see what they do here.
I looked into it years ago, and
Okay, not
he's like an athlete and looks up to
uh,
He-Man. I'm like,
okay, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
that's
nah, that's not what I want for the character. Not at all. I want him to be his own character who doesn't aspire or is inspired by He-Man. I want him. I mean, hell, here we go. We
yeah,
can dive into the style guide bio here.
yeah.
Um, clinches enemies with his powerful pincer weapon. This brave and gallant knight is responsible for guarding King Randor of the Royal Palace of Eternity. That alone, like, I'm sorry, that does not sound like someone who looks up to He-Man. Like, that's a backstory,
Yeah.
like right there. Like how after all this time, because Tila was assigned as Adam's bodyguard, but King Randor, like, and maybe that could be a sign of like King Randor's getting older, and they kind of touch on that in the Star comic that he's featured in. Like
Hmm.
he's trying to fight, and he really doesn't need to be, and Clam Champ's concerned with that, and he even tries to stop, breaks up a fight with a battle droid, so to speak, not like the shitty Star Wars prequel battle droids, but like he's practicing fighting on a robot. And it's getting a little too much for him, and Clam Champ stops it because he's concerned about the king's, health and trying too hard there.
But look at this. So it's like they just took the style
Yeah,
guide and made a couple tweaks here.
pretty much, and he's so skinny.
He is pretty skinny right here,
It's very
admittedly.
scrawny. Like it kind of almost looks like Kevin Peter Hall, the guy who played the Predator in Bigfoot and Harry and the Hendersons.
Mm.
Like he's a very tall, like he's over 7 foot, uh, sweetheart of a guy. But I'm like, that's not Clamp Champ. And right here, this looks like, right there, that looks like, Carl Weathers and Rocky 2 without the mustache.
So why the spelling with the K here? I wonder why that
I think with a lot like with
copyright. It
no, I
makes it
think that
easy.
was probably what they were going for initially.
Okay.
Was that like Cyclone is referred to as Tornado in Spiker Strikes One Time, which was his running name initially. Then they changed it to Cyclone. I think with this was going to be his set name, spelt this way. And then for whatever reason, I guess someone decided, no, 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 I don't like that. Let's just change it to Clamp, like spelled it correctly, not with a K.
I kind of like
And
it with a K, honestly.
it looks cool with a K.
Yeah.
It's unique, it's different, and why not? It's the world of Master of the Universe. You can get away with grammar changes like that.
But yeah,
You
he
know,
he does look like Carl Weathers without the mustache right here.
yeah. Look at him and Rocky One, and he's got the strong throw that Carl Weathers has back then. And if he just had that big ass mystic mustache that Carl Weathers sported in the '80s, like
Yeah.
yeah, that would be Carl Weathers right there. And it's just this is just even though this is I guess one of the things that's so great about this mini comic is that you've got a shit ton of characters and one all combined into one mini comic, and they give Clan Champ and Ninjor a decent amount in a short amount of time. Like at least get to depict Ninjor as what he does best, and showcasing the gift that Clan Champ has his heightened senses, which is never really explored that much. And
Yeah.
I don't. It's not going to be like he's got enhanced vision. I just feel like he hears things a lot better. Maybe his scent, maybe not to the extreme of like Daredevil, but I just feel like he can hear. Obviously, if he can hear an arrow coming towards him from a great distance away, he can hear very well. Like, does that mean his sense of smell is a bit stronger? Maybe not as intense as like Wolverine's,
Yeah.
but I feel like that's something you can have a lot. But don't want it to be like he found a magical gem in some bullshit cave and like gave him superpowers and shit like that. I just like to think this is something that he was born with. Just something that over time, like he started to recognize I can hear things, from a great distance. I
You,
can, it made him like
you
a great hunter, like growing up as a young attorney, like maybe helping find food for his family. Like he could hear like up like a manticore was like, maybe half a mile from him, but like, oh my God, like I recognize that scent. That's a manticore.
Yeah.
or just something like that. Like he can't understand why it is, but just it would learn to be something he would use to his advantage as he would get older, I think.
You could go that route, or well, first of all, for those that want to seek out this particular mini comic, Tyler, what is the title of this one?
The search for Keldor, which is, uh, I mean, you can buy this on eBay. You can get the Dark Horse mini comic collection if you want to pay
Yep.
an arm and a leg for it, because I think it's out of print now. But
Yeah.
well worth the money if you want to. And uh, it's well worth seeking out because Bruce Timm, who did the illustration of Planet Champ on the front, he illustrates this mini comic cover to end from front to back. It's all his artwork, beautiful artwork, beautifully colored, and definitely one of the top tier books in my personal opinion. I think a lot
Right.
of people have their very, but I'm always going to put this one because of who it features in it. Is why it means a lot to me.
You could also work the angle here with him fighting Ninjor. That you're saying maybe it's something he was born with. Maybe he's a part of this village in Eternia that, because of his heightened senses, is able to seek stuff out, and then the village kind of prospers because of it, because it's easier to hunt with him, having him around or whatever. You could also maybe use this as maybe still in same said village, but like royalty visits there for a particular reason. Clamp Champ as a child sees all these Eternian guards there with a younger Randor man at arms is there. You know, you have maybe a young Adam, young Tila present. He witnesses that and is like, oh, I would like to be a part of that one day. So as he gets older, maybe there's particular training that he goes and seeks out to do what he needs to be chosen to be a part of this illustrious guard. And maybe part of the training within this is just how to be aware of your surroundings more than most, because if you want to reach the pinnacle to protect King Randor, you have to be aware at all times. So maybe there was some sort of training there that helped facilitate these heightened senses in some way, if you want to go more that particular route.
I like where you're going with that because I kind of had a similar idea too. Is like I my thinking was that he aspired to like join up with the heroic warriors or the royal guard, and decided to train to become a royal guardsman. And maybe there was a particular incident or accident that he is still like a young guy in training, but then like Randor is like the subject of like an assassination or accident, and he hears it,
Mm-hmm.
and just instinctively runs and pushes Randor out of the way from either being attacked,
Yeah.
and just like, oh my god, how did you know that? I heard it. What do you mean you heard it?
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but I can hear certain things that I just picked up on it. There was an arrow coming at your head, or there was a laser like coming at you, or just I sensed that I could hear that the balcony was about ready to cave, to break, or just something like that. And everyone was like, that's unbelievable. Like you can do that. And it's for like he just from that like draws its attention. Like, you know what, I could use you, as my personal bodyguard, for just this very thing, either being assassinated or accidents, or I know the heroic horse could use a talent like yours. Like I don't have anyone else that
Yeah.
has enhanced hearing and senses like that. Sure, Mechanic, can see over great distances. Extendar can extend his body, but no one has the hearing that you have. You can track things. Like that's something like that makes him so vital, amongst the heroic warriors. Like he has something that no one else has,
Yeah.
and something that would be used in battle or secrecy. If you're trying to sneak into Snake Mountain, or if you're trying to find someone who has been lost, like he can track, he can listen, for foreseeable danger. Like there's just so much goodness that could be had with this character. Like a lot of fun, and I like your idea too of him, uh, like being inspired by seeing the royal family and seeing Man at Arms with royal guards. Like, oh wow,
Yeah.
like I want to join it with them and make use of these, well, not maybe thinking of like these talents because he just kind of does it on instinct, but just like that inspires him, not He-Man.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I just like I like to think of Adam and Clamp Champ as being relatively close in age, you know. that obviously when he gets the power sword, he's 18.
Yeah,
But by the time Clamp Champ comes along, I'd like to think that Adam's probably maybe in his mid 20s,
yeah.
and Clamp Champ's probably around that same time, and uh, maybe eventually would become a royal guardsman and had been doing it for a while, and then has this moment to save King Randor when no one else like saw it or heard it,
Yeah.
and gets him noticed, and they start to really. And Matt Duncan's like, you don't understand. Like, this guy's been training with us for like the last year. He's been beating everybody. I
Yeah.
had no idea the guy's hearing was that good though. So this might be someone we really need to keep an eye on. And Randall's like, no, no, bring him forward. We're going to give him, a new suit of armor. We're gonna, give him a name that fits his capabilities.
And
And
then it's like Man at Arms, make him a weapon that will.
again, like I've always said, that weapon should be an extension of like how great his strength is. Like if he grabs a hold of someone, like in a sleeper hold, or like in a bear hug, or like a headlock, you're not getting out of it. Like his
Yeah.
grip is so fierce that like he's champ. And I feel like when I've explained that in the past, people just look at me like, and then they start falling
I
into
should have had
madness.
the fart effect queued up for you.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, what does that mean? But I do remember one of our listeners that met us at PowerCon told us he remembered that and thought that was pretty cool for Clan Champ. Let's say, all right, finally, someone gets me on that.
Do you because I didn't read, do you know exactly particularly what this shot comes from?
This is from the newspaper strip.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure. Which I have only dabbled in a little bit, and unfortunately wasn't too impressed with. I mean, there was I think, some decent ideas in there. I haven't read too far. I think we were doing the newspaper strip back in the day. Oh, wait, this is the UK annual.
All right, so
This
it's
is
the
yeah.
UK. Yeah, I was
I
kind of getting
forgot.
some vibes
I
from it.
recognize that right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
It's the UK annual.
all right, yeah. So this is aforementioned the one of the cover. He's the athlete here. So yeah, the
Yeah.
Clamp Champ, your friend, He-Man. So is what
I'm
it
like,
is.
man, that's just like, dude, come on, man. Like, I just find it to be a bit lame, honestly.
Yeah.
It just not something as if like he was this big celebrity and he takes a picture with the young Clamp Champ and autographs it for him. Here you go, kid. You
Well,
know,
speaking of young Clamp Champ, here's the old Clamp Champ.
yeah. Which I remember this blew my mind before I even read it. Was when I read the synopsis on He-Man.org about the last two mini comic, or last two star comic, excuse me, and that Clamp Champ is featured in it, and he's older. And I thought, oh my god, like that's I love that Clamp Champ was used. Even though he in this storyline he pretty much dies of a heart attack from overexertion, but still looks phenomenal. He's in fantastic shape.
Yeah, I mean,
And
you could even work this angle that like him and Randor are the same age and came up together.
yeah.
You could go that route if you wanted to as well.
Again, it's like an open palette. You really could have him be more of a war veteran that has seen a lot and has um maybe like when Adam was maybe 10, Clamp Champ was 20 and assigned as Randor's bodyguard.
Yeah.
And then eventually got to where our defenses were stronger. You know what, Clamp Champ, we can put you out there helping alongside Man at Arms in this newly assembled crew of people who've joined up with us, like Ram Man and the people of Avion and the Bee people. And then He Man comes along, and of course Adam knows who Clamp Champ was from growing up, and like this is the guy's protected my father all these years. This guy knows what he's talking about, and another mentor. Not just Man at Arms who's there to like, how convenient, my new shit stain remover. It's Clamp Champ is there is just like teaching Adam hand to hand combat. You know,
Yeah. In Espanol, Capturator.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would, that's just a cool name in Spanish, regardless.
Yeah. I'm going to scroll through here on the Battle Ram blog and
Okay.
look at
Well,
some of
yeah,
this.
Adam deserves all the publicity for his
Yeah, so
wonderful site.
this one here in particular is the Spanish promotional sticker.
Okay.
So, yeah. So Capturator, which doesn't sound as cool as Clam Champ, but it gets the point across.
Has a nice ring to it there.
Yeah.
This I always thought was kind of odd. I almost felt like he was thrown in last minute because this is pretty much pushing the '86 wave. Um, collection, and then Clam
Yeah.
Champ, which I think was dated for '86. I think because I read Adam's articles countless times, and some figures, even though they were part of the '87 wave, would be initially kind of greenlit and let out
Yeah.
like in late '86. So he may have been down the pipeline, like, and they tell William George, like, can you squeeze this character in somehow?
Yeah.
And just has him climb, like, not doing anything that
Doing
resembles what,
nothing.
no,
Yeah.
nothing, just climbing a mountain or
Yeah.
climbing a
It's
cliff to get up.
these are these big sprawling illustrations that include pretty much every character. So you get some that just are like Clam Champ. You're not doing much of nothing. They're there just to be a presence. And I mean, this could be one of those things. As a kid, Tyler, you're seeing this and you're looking. You're like, well, who's that guy back there? And you see the
Yeah,
name, and you're like, Mom, who's this? Because you can't read yet. And they're like, oh, it says Clamp Champ. Oh boy, like I want
right.
to know more about that guy.
Yeah, he's a human character. Like, what can he do? And again, it's like we have a new character, and and right here, Clamp Champ looks amazing right here. Like
Yeah.
that. That's his face is done beautifully. And he's brought forth to the forefront. Like he's right next to He-Man and Biotops, and right in front of Tila. Like he's giving a great position in this last of the William George posters that were done for the line, because all these posters that were done, they're all badass.
You got
I'm
Man at
assuming.
Arms back here with Squeeze.
Oh yeah, like it's this all hell breaking loose with the Snake Men, the Horde, Evil Warriors, and all the heroic wars and the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
are all featured in this poster here. It's just chaos, and this is a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
As for obvious reasons, my favorite Snake Man's on there, Ninja's on there, Clamp Champ's on there, Blast Attack, and it's in Pre-Eternia of all places
Yeah.
too.
So Squeeze has got Randor up there, and yeah, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
I
one
got
of
this one. I think it's underneath. It before it used to be visible, but then I had to buy more shelves, and it got covered up. But I do have that framed on the wall because
Yeah, I've
I
got that
like
one
this
as
one.
well. I was gonna say I had all of them framed at one point, but you can't have all of them on display. So, but that when I saw that image before, like on He-Man.org, that really intrigued me. Like, oh my god, like it was so cool to see Clamp Champ like depicted as just him and He-Man as the only heroes in this uh illustration in Pre-Eternia, and taking on the latest wave of villains.
I mean, He-Man, pretty brave, kind of looking Snakeface in the face. So
And you know what?
I don't
I
mind
hope.
it. I'm just saying, like,
No,
mighty
no,
brave of He-Man to do
it
such a
is,
thing.
but I also feel like too that's something I think I would take away from Snakeface and the mythology. We're talking about someone who could turn anyone into stone,
Hmm.
anyone, even King Hiss. Which someone could say, well, King Hiss is he's also an evil sorcerer as well. But I'm like, he's too powerful, like a character like that. He's a henchman. You can't have a henchman that rivals the leader of that fact in terms of power. Like I just feel like he needs to be someone who's very vicious and nasty looking, with
Yeah, that's
snakes that
true.
come out. I just feel like that's too much. Like I get it. I love Medusa. It makes Medusa one of the greatest mythological characters in mythology and literature. But I just feel like for Snakeface, he just needs to be toned down in terms of strength, because otherwise, all you gotta do is show his reflection. Then he's turned to stone, and he's taken out. But like he's
Yeah,
done in the mini comics and the 2000 X cartoon, and then he's done. What
yeah,
do you do with the character then? Like it's you got to get that out of there to keep
yeah.
him
It boxes him in too much.
pretty much. And that's
Yeah,
why I look at this as like, no, he's just looking nasty because snakes are nasty and mean, and he's gonna come out his mouth and his eyes and his
yeah.
shoulders, like you know. Uh, we can go down that path to like what the
Dude,
character was. That
and Blast Attack looks amazing in this as well.
again, as someone who's damn near not used at all, and he looks. This is the best he's ever looked. Like I've never seen any other illustration of Black that looks as good as the one that Earl did here. And this was a mishmash too, because even though the mini comic features Blast Attack as a creation, the Snake Man, he is sold as a member of the Evil Warriors too. Like it's I'm going off on another tangent. I'm taking away from Clan Champ here. This is one I've yet to find. This is the last of the He-Man magazines, and is one of the hardest ones to come by. Not just the magazine, let alone the poster that comes with it.
Yeah,
And I mean, come on! I got Clan Champ fighting Blade, Snout Smells fighting Ninjor. We got Rio Blast, He-Man, great. I mean, I was like, I want this is on my holy grail list of illustrations. Like, I have to own this. Every so often, I go back and check for the magazines, but it's always the same ones over and over again. It's so hard to find this one. I think when I did find it, it was well out of my price range, and I couldn't afford it. Now I could afford it if I could just find one to buy, But it's just that Clan Champ looks great, and I don't know, seeing him taking on Blade
Yeah.
or what it looks like it's going to happen. Like, it's intriguing to me. You get a swordsman versus someone who's the master of capture. How's that going to go down? And Snout Spout looks, very formidable, taking out Ninjor, like blasting the shit out of him with like getting hit with a fire hose, like
Yeah.
lots of pressure. And get ready, like he's got his axe like raised, like he's ready to like just sink it right into Ninjor's chest. And
Yeah.
even though Rhea Blast is carrying Moss Man's mace, he just looks like a badass running up there, to join the battle. It just
That's a
look
good
with
pose of him. Yeah.
it's a great dynamic pose of him, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me that his weapons aren't unleashed. Like, he's not ready to do that yet. Like, he'd rather go in like with a mace and just bash heads in first before he starts unleashing his artillery. And this was my avatar on He-Man.org for a long time.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I just I call it myself it was like the champ of '87 since he came out in '87. That's what I refer to him as.
Yeah. So here
But
here is the Power Tour,
yeah,
which we watched together ages and ages ago, and it's
never do that
it's
again.
yeah, it's crazy. It was interesting to see most of it for the first time for myself, but just how they have like a rollerblading competition.
And a lot of singing
It's
and
goofy.
dancing. Like, He-Man, I do not associate with singing and dancing. I just don't. So to know that that's what that show was back then, I think I'd have been, even though I'd have been in- just overwhelmed to see these characters running around on a stage, I would have been greatly bothered. Like, why is there singing and dancing in this
Yeah, yeah.
He-Man show? I just like, it has no business. It's not a Disney movie, for crying out loud,
Speaking moistly, saying yeah, it kind of looks like Bad Boys era Pistons Dennis Rodman as Clamp Champ
Does
right
look
here.
like Dennis Rodman from back then. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Um, yeah, here's just another little illustration. Number 3073, Clamp Champ
Looks
action
like
figure.
like a catalog, I guess, like a black and white order catalog or something like that. It's kind of what it looks like.
Let's see if I can see what it says here. Um, nothing really stated specifically on there, but
Or maybe like a newspaper strip, like catalog, like or the ads that you would get in a newspaper. Sometimes the
yeah,
sales has to be black and white,
yeah.
and because I like to look up those too. Like, oh hey, they're He-Man toys are on sale, $3 a piece this week. You can get Clan
Oh,
Champ and Squeeze.
oh, great. So once we get
Oh
past that,
man,
here's some of the stuff I've added on from Battle, aside from Battle Ram blog. So here is the NECA Staction from 2000X, which is awesome.
God, work of art.
Fits the aesthetic of what they were going for with the NYP cartoon and the toy line that Mattel was coming out with, and the Stactions here just followed that once the toy line was pretty much done from Mattel.
And this was well, obviously the Horsemen took, they made everything look even more better with the staction, but Clamp Champ was supposed to fill in for the shitty storyline of Snake Man at Arms, as if that was the, oh my god, how epic is this? He turned into a Snake Man again,
Yeah,
and somehow we're going to make this a gripping story. But to fill in the gap, while he was a shitty Snake Man, Clamp Champ was going to come in, not and fill that gap, as where Man at Arms was temporarily a shitty Snake Man. But to know that he would have come in the third season, like, it was like, oh my god, like, just why couldn't we get that third season?
yeah. And these aren't really articulated to pretty much just statues, so which is
Yeah.
why they're called stacks. And I think some of them had movement with the arms, correct, and maybe the head, but that was about it.
No, no.
No,
I mean,
okay,
there was no movement at all. Like, the pose they were in from the head to toe, like, that's what you got.
okay,
And you had a little peg to plug them into the base there. And I bought every one of them except the last wave, which eluded me because I think they were released in such small quantities, and you just,
hmm,
like, that was Jitsu. I think Battle Armor He-Man. I think Cobra Khan. Um, I, yeah, I think Faker. I think as well, but um, Clam Champ was one of the first ones that they did, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on this one. I still own all the stactions that I had. They're just in storage right now. But one of my favorites, because he is one of my favorites. I just loved all the pressure tubes that were connected to the his main power pincer, and then the small handheld one,
Yeah.
almost like as if like you could put that around someone's neck, or like lock or like bind someone's hands together,
Yeah.
something like that.
You're under arrest. I think the
Yeah.
only thing I don't enjoy about this is that they put the CC right here.
You know
It's,
what?
it's just a minor
Yeah.
nitpick.
It's not necessary, but
Yeah, I don't think it.
I
Yeah.
mean,
do
I'm
go
with
through
you.
with
If
that.
I had any nitpick, I'd say get that off there. He doesn't need his initials on there.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that as a thing where it's just shorthand. It's like, oh, hey, CC, instead of calling him Clamp Champ.
Oh no, we're not doing that.
I know. I'm just saying, like.
And I'd say, because I always thought, if I write him stories, like just refer to him, and if you want to say Clan Champ, however, you can just say, "Hey, Champ."
Yeah.
Just call him Champ.
Yeah.
For short, because it sounds cool. And here's the amazing Classics figure with the
Classics figure is once again, I've stated this, the Classics line to me is my personal favorite Master Universe line. So here he is in Classics form. I actually have him. It's him and Fisto and Battle Armor He-Man like front and center, because I have regular He-Man like on this side shelf where he's on Battle Cat and everything, but on the shelf it's like him and Fisto side by side, because I think we talked about this before. Even well before, and we'll mention the Revelation show, but I always picture Clamp Champ and Fisto just always teaming up together and just kind of having that camaraderie and the banter with one another out in the field when they go to fight.
I've often thought that too, and not just because they share they share the same armor in different color schemes, but they just look like an easy pair up. Like it's easy to put He-Man and Fisto together, He-Man and Clamp Champ together, and naturally Fisto and Clamp Champ would, I think, go together as a great tag team, buddies in battle, who would maybe give each other some fun friend shit or something like that, but would definitely like face the ultimate odds to go help the other, that kind of camaraderie between the two.
Yeah.
They just look like a natural tag team, I think.
But the Classics figure is amazing. I
man.
quickly looked on eBay. He's only going for about $50-$60 right now. So
is it?
Yeah. So if you want him, go pick him up. He's great.
It just shows you people are dumb.
Here he is. Here he is in the Revelation show, and him and Fisto are there, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then they kill them off, and then they do that dumb shit where there's like Eternia of Heaven, and then like that gets destroyed.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Anyway,
I had no idea they died off, and I'm glad I didn't watch that fucking cartoon anymore.
We'll blow past that, but here is the Masterverse figure.
Jesus Christ, God, that's awful. That's just really bad.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Well, hey, if you guys like it, more power to you.
And here he is in Origins. Like I said, you can go to Ollie's and probably find this guy. I'll go today maybe and check just to see if he's there. So, yeah. Origins is weird. You and I are in the same boat. It's honestly, to me, something about just they seem so misproportionate.
Cheap and disproportionate, and the head
too top heavy. Yeah, and then it's like you get to the cod piece here, and it's just it looks weird with the legs. It's just something about it, but it's what it is.
It still baffles me though that Classics was going, and they just told Super 7, no, you won't do anymore. We're gonna do our own version of Classics, and we're just gonna start all over again.
Yeah,
with shitty head sculpts and all this stuff. It's like, man, it just. I mean, I would like to think the people who are watching this, either now or in the future, and you see this lineup of the quality, like look at that, and then you look at Origins, and you're like, this is what Mattel said. No, we want to do our own version. And like, how do you argue with the quality?
Yeah, so it's like 4 Horsemen, and then just in-house
that
Mattel.
Yeah.
It's what I mean. People have the preferences, but I would much rather spend, because this is probably what $20-$25. I would much rather spend double the price and get this loose now. I think.
Yeah.
But that's just me, and that's just my own personal thing. But there you go. There is like the visual history of Clamp Champ, and we've talked earlier about the potential of the character, or even tossed out a couple ideas of origins for him. And I'll get to a lot of the comments that we had throughout this episode. I'll read some of the comments that we have here. If you guys got some questions for us, go ahead and toss those in there. And we'll talk some more about Clamp Champ along the way, too. But starting off here, we were talking about the Netflix stuff. Johnny Cock. I finally subscribed to Netflix, and I put on Revolutions. I fell asleep about 10, 15 minutes in. Yeah, it's all preference, all of you out there. We gave that first season a shot. I actually watched that second bit. Not a fan is what it is. And then going back to us saving money for things, Johnny, that was the main reason I did well in school. My mom would give me $1 for every A I got on a test or a quiz. That's a good incentive.
Absolutely.
Casey Duncan saying here, scrounging up enough money to buy a Dr. Pepper and a candy bar at the store was a win. Yeah, it's like anything. It didn't even have to be action figures. It was just, I remember getting a little bit of money, and I'm like, I'm gonna ride my bike from our house. I'm gonna go all the way down. Then not where my parents currently are. This is the house prior to that. I'm gonna ride down to the convenience store, and I'm gonna get me a candy bar, and then I'll have $1 left after that. And I can't remember. They used to have like 2 arcade machines, and there'd be like a pinball machine. I can't remember what arcade game it was. It may have been RoboCop or something. But I'm gonna get a candy bar, and I'm gonna go do that. And that was like my day. It was building up to it was during the summer, so it's like, all right, tomorrow's the day. I got the money. I'm gonna go down the store. I'm gonna get me a candy bar. I'm gonna play an arcade game. Maybe chuck a quarter into the pinball and play the pinball. But yeah, it's all that stuff. Just I guess we didn't know how good we had it, right?
Well, like getting candy for me, like that, it was that or like a pack of trading cards or a comic book. Like that was kind of the, because the action figure was that was the cream of the crop. Like, and if weren't allowed to get that, if you saw like a pack of trading cards or some candy, like bubble gum, something like that, that would be one of the things you could get. Like, no, you're not getting a $3 or $4 action figure. You got plenty of those at home. The same scenario, like, oh my God, I don't have that at home.
Yeah.
I don't already have that. It's not going to be thrown in the corner. So if you could compromise and get a pack of like movie trading cards, which was always a big sell for, I know me and Nathan both, probably some of you out there too, or a pack of like bubble gum, or something out of the quarter machines, like one of the football helmets.
Yeah.
I didn't like football, but I thought the football helmets were really, really cool.
I would get the football helmets and then the baseball helmets. And it's like you said.
I remember the baseball helmets. Yeah.
Those were good. Like, you're not in that particular time, in that particular day, that if you're going to Hills or Walmart, you're not getting a toy. But
yeah,
it's like, well, how about a quarter? I can get something out of the machine, anything, right? It's like, or it's like the pack of cards would be like 50 cents or something, maybe $1. It's like, well, how about this? It's like, I know I'm not getting a toy, but how about like a pack of trading cards? Come on.
That's the compromise, and I'm sure you heard it, and I'm sure others listening. Before you even walk in or you even get in the car, you're told, I'm just letting you know, you're not getting a toy.
Mm-hmm.
So you're told in advance, all bets are off. Don't even think about it. Don't even ask me. And sometimes I would just say, can I at least just walk down the aisle? I won't ask for anything. And I would honor that word, but I was like, I need to look at the action figures. Like, I need to know, who am I missing out on here?
I wasn't like that desperate. I would still get to walk in the toy aisle, but
yeah. Well, I think a lot of times it was like, led to think that, if you walk down there, all you're going to do is you're going to start begging and pleading for something, and you can't have it. And I don't want to go through that battle with you.
I think that time period's kind of when it really started, of when my dad was like, all right, I think it's time to just give him an allowance and let's see if he can save money for things.
Oh, dude, that was a mistake my mom made. It's like, you guys just want to burn through that $5 the minute you get it. Like, yeah, because there's action figures to be bought. So she eventually, after a while, she just took it away from me and my brother both because we would drive her crazy to go to Kmart or Hills or Walmart to get an action figure because it was $5 for an action figure. That's what we got, or $3 for a GI Joe. But I gotta buy one.
Yeah.
You're well aware there's all these great characters. You can only get one at a time. I need to get more. I need more characters to fight and do battles with. And it's like, oh nope, take it away. It's just constant entrapment.
Yeah.
But on those days, yeah, mom had no problem with getting me a comic book because it was $1.25 back then,
Yeah.
or a pack of trading cards, or
something
games.
something out of the machine.
Some out of the machine. Something that like, all right, look, you got to give me something here. You can't take me to this place, expect to look at women's clothing for an hour and a half, and just sit there and just like I'm completely content looking at the women's department of Hills, or taking me over to the mall, and I got to go through Deb and all the other department stores that have no toys or anything cool or anything I would be remotely interested in.
Yeah,
for 2 hours.
when you can hear that yapping dog toy that would spin from KB that would spin around in circles off in the distance.
Yeah, it's like. And I remember
that shit. I mean, it sucked. I'm with you. We would go to Hills, and you go in, and it was pretty much like what women's clothing was right there, like to the right, pretty much as soon as you walk in, and it goes all the way down, and then you go down that way, and there's where the kids' clothes are, and then you would come up through that way, and then eventually, when you rounded that corner, that's where the toys would be. So it's like you're pretty much at the end of the store before you even get to where you want to look at. So I'm with you because it was torture. Because you couldn't just walk away from him. You had to stay with him.
Yep.
Because stranger danger and all that stuff. And then it's just boring because your mom's looking at everything. Oh, now she's got to go and try the shit on. You're like, oh man, how long is this gonna take? Yeah. So I'm
I
with
have
you
to
on that.
ask because I called my mom out on this because it wouldn't be it was quite normal a lot of times to have my mom and my granny would be with us to make multiple stops before we get to any place that would even have anything I would be interested in, typically action figures.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'd make multiple stops. Like I remember one trip to Richmond. Well, we're going to go to MJ Designs. We're going to go here. And there's Toys R Us.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're going to Toys R Us, but like you had to sit through the suffering of going through every store, every stop.
Yep.
They wanted to go through and sit quietly and like, oh my God. And then when you get there, all she can do is you need to hurry up and pick something out. You need to hurry up and pick something out. Like, wait a second here.
No.
I just went through 2 hours of bullshit looking through clothing and crafts to get here. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to pick out which GI Joe I want at my own time and pace.
No, I was never rushed. It was always the build up to that. But I'm with you because we would go to Bristol and we'd always have to stop at some fucking pottery shop. Mom wanted to look at. I can't remember what the name of it was. I don't want to say it was a pottery. I don't think it was called Pottery Barn, but it was definitely it was a pottery shop, and it was like the biggest one in the state, or at least it felt that way. And you're just going through, and you're like, because we're on our way to go to a particular mall. I can't even remember which one.
Mercer Mall was in West Virginia. I wonder if it was the Mercer Mall.
I don't know if it was.
That's where I got Faker. Was at Mercer Mall in West Virginia.
Because maybe I don't know, but it was some sort of mall, and there wasn't even the guarantee when we got there that it was going to have like a KB toy either.
Yeah.
So we get there, we're walking around, and of course we didn't look at like the directory of the thing, and there's be like, is there a KB here? So I'm just walking, and then you see it, and then of course I get excited and I like dart towards it. But no, it was never like, all right, hurry up, pick something out. No, they always let me take my time. Because I think Dad always enjoyed looking at that shit too. Because I think he's like mentally taking inventory of me saying like, "Oh, that looks really cool," and it's like, "All right, remember that? What's the price on that? Yeah, that's definitely Christmas. Oh, that one, that's
God,
for sure."
I'm quite certain that's what your parents are doing. Was both my mom and dad were. They take you over there and they buy it, but it's just like they put that pressure on you, and maybe from my own memory, maybe they were giving me more time than I was led to believe, but it just feels like. Because when you get there, a lot of these stores had 2 or 3 sections of action figures. It wasn't just one aisle.
Yeah.
In the good old days, like Toys R Us had 3 or 4 aisles of just action figures, let alone all the other stuff. You had to walk and weigh all your options. and decide, okay, this is what my opportunities. I'm going to devote it to this. So when you're trying to walk the aisles and you're rethinking and rethinking, like, okay, kid, you got to make a choice. We got to get out of here. I got other, adult boring shit to go look at.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh my god, you're sitting, the clock is ticking. You're sitting there, oh my god, which one is it? And I remember there's been a couple of times where I'm like, I made the wrong decision, or Derek got a better action figure than I did. Once we
Yeah.
got home, like, why did I do that? Derek, you want to trade? No. Like,
There's actually a question later on that Johnny posed that kind of it ties into that. Well, I want to swing back into some Clamp Champ, read some of these comments because I do want to show off a couple of commercials, and then some of our longtime listeners have pointed out your mini comic, so we can quickly show that off too. But
I'm surprised anyone remembered that.
Crom's Mountain, my first memory of Clamp Champ was Earl Norm wrapping paper that came in the magazine.
Yeah, he's on that sled with his power pincher and a bag of presents behind him.
Yeah. Speaking moistly, I never noticed Clamp Champ until 2000X. So I think that's one of those things that being that late in the wave, we're at the tail end of it too. The popularity has died off, and the scarcity of the figure because not as many were produced compared to previous ones.
Yeah.
I think a good chunk of people didn't find out about Clamp Champ until the org came around, or just kind of stumbling across it, seeing it in a shop. It's like, oh, well, they made more of these. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. I showed that before. I think this is when you got up, but Johnny pointed out didn't know Clamp Champ was until the podcast. So maybe this is part of it too.
I love it.
Papa Hood's echoing what you said earlier in the episode. Love the diversity of Master Universe back in the day, just organic and not forced.
Precisely. I have always been about diversity in all the properties, from comic books to every toy line imaginable. And it's one of the good things about Bionic 6. And just one of those things where you just feel, and I've talked to people of ethnicity, they don't feel like it does them any favors when you're taking already established character and just change the skin color or change their background. Like, why does that do me any favors?
Mm-hmm.
Come up with your own character, make them not shove them down your throat. It's make them a likable character, and that's just one of those things I love with Master of the Universe and all the other classic. And Bionic 6 is one of those. I just think it was ahead of its time, but that's the way it ought to be. Everything should be organic. They were the days, Papa Huz. They were, and people act as if, like, you know what, they're groundbreaking. We're making things so much. No, idiot. If you go back and look about 40 years ago, people were already pioneering that stuff.
Yeah.
Like even back then, like in the 70s, Roy Thomas he's like, we need to add diversity to the world of Conan. He came up with Zula, right there. That's just a prime example. Sunfire, a Japanese X-Men character. Like, more diversity was done back in the 60s and 70s, but unfortunately, people just, like, they don't have time to think about things that had been done a long time ago. They just, like, oh, it's more about now. This is groundbreaking. We're doing it here. Like, no, you're not, asshole.
G.I. Joe was diverse.
Oh my God! If there was any other example, G.I. Joe is the prime example of the most diverse toy line. And you know what? It was like, oh my God, there's all these unique characters, different backgrounds, different weapons. You got ninjas and just people of all kinds from different backgrounds, and they come from all over the world.
Yeah, it just kind of piggybacks off of the idea. Just racism is something that's taught. It's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and it just I remember when I heard that phrase, that racism is not embedded, it's taught. And I just think about the times when you're interacting with kids with different skin color, and you don't see them as someone who's like, "Oh, you're different than me." Like, "Hey, what's your name?"
Yeah.
Like, you're someone else my age, and you don't think about things like.
Oh, you like Ninja Turtles too? That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Like, you see characters in cartoons. Like, I'm looking at Jitsu. Like, that's a badass dude. I'm not thinking like, oh, Asian people are all evil, or some silly shit like that. Like, no, he's one of the coolest looking characters I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Same thing with Storm Shadow. But I got Larry Hama's, foresight. I was like, you know what? The only Asian character you've introduced is the bad guy, and changed it. And then Quick Kick would come out after that too. But I liked what Larry did with that too. and with Hasbro with GI Joe. I mean, there was a massively diverse cast of the GI Joe crew. I mean, different backgrounds, some all over the United States and where they've studied and what their specialties were, and it didn't matter what it was irrelevant. Do they look
Yeah.
cool with their outfit and the
Yeah.
weapons they come with?
Yeah.
Like that's all I care about.
Are they presented in a kick-ass way?
Yeah,
Good
I
or
don't.
evil? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I loved Roadblock, and then I got to where I was sick and tired of his rhymes all the time. Like, can you talk and not rhyme everything you say?
Yeah.
Can you just be an awesome heavy artillery badass and wearing the cool camo tank top and stop rhyming everything and be a good chef?
uh,
Because I love that with GI Joe you got Budo, who's a samurai warrior. You got Quick Kick, you got Tunnel Rat. I mean, you've got Zap, you got Roadblock and Heavy Duty. Just this Hardball, who was who was a former baseball player. You've got oh shit, Red Dog, who was a former professional football player. Like as part of the Slaughters Renegades. Like so many diverse characters, and their skin color or their national spirit. One of my favorite characters, like Native American. Like
yeah.
they're just cool, kick-ass characters, man. The world is different, and the toy line should be as well. Fuck, man. Like, and stop trying to act like you're reinventing the world. Look what we're doing. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Like, can't badasses just be badass? Like, no, no. Here's the message here, people. Now read it promptly, read it back to me here, and there'll be a
Yeah.
test afterwards, and not I'll fail you and humiliate you all over social media and say you hate this and that, and you're like, oh fuck you.
Casey Duncan. So hard to balance Clamp Champ with his heavy arm.
It is because that over time that arm weighs down because it can't support it can support it for a while, but eventually the weight of the plastic weighs that arm down. It's the same with the vintage and the classics figure. It just
Yeah.
over time it just cannot hold it up forever.
Yeah, I actually have it posed in a way to where the end of his weapon is just what's settling
Yeah, I think
there.
I got mine. It's down. It's down.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
when I'm
There's
plus I got so many people and next to him and behind him. Like I can't have it out front. It's got to be down and
yeah.
next to Mossman and Cyclone where he belongs with my favorites and Lizard
Pop-
Man.
Papa Hoods sucks. His character was treated like crap in Revelation. Shake
Who
my
wasn't treated like shit in Revelation? Everybody was. There was nobody that was given any kind of dignity at all.
Not wrong. Andrew HM, early evening here in UK. Great to see you live. Yeah, I'm glad that we're getting more of the UK peeps in here since we're going earlier in the day.
He's a big Stinkor fan. I want to give him major props for showcasing what a Stinkor fan he is. He's got like a I'm going to assume it was patchouli, a potted plant with Stinkor's face.
Yeah, I was gonna read the comments too from last week. Papa Huds, this is pretty funny. I was gonna buy Origins Clamp Champ, but never mind. So
I mean, I'm just, if you're gonna buy a Clamp Champ, get you a vintage one or a classics one. But granted, if it's $10,
classics would be cheaper, but
and much better, and you'd be proud of the money that you spent when you have such a badass looking character to put on your shelf, as opposed to the poorly designed and just cheap looking Origins and Masters. But you know what? Times are tough. We all can't afford to buy high dollar toys. I sure as hell can't do it. So if you find one in a local Ollie's or someone selling it pretty cheap on Amazon or on eBay, hey, you're supporting a character that I have been championing and Nathan's been championing for years. So you know what? However you get him, don't be ashamed of it. Get what you can to support the character Clamp Champ. That's all I'm all. That's what I'm all about here.
I'm not going to have the volume up too loud. I'll make it halfway. So it might be kind of loud for those of you at home, but here is the Ninja Clamp Champ commercial, and then we will watch one of the Spanish ones.
Which is the real Ninjor, evil master of martial arts? Will Clamp Champ get a hold of him? I have the power. Figures sold separately. New from the Masters of the Universe, Ninjor and Clamp Champ. Evil skill against steel grip.
Oh, yeah. I bought a tape of just He-Man and 80s toy commercial off of eBay. It didn't tell me what was on there. And I bought that tape, and that commercial was featured on there, and it blew my fucking mind. I was like, oh my God, this is Enter the Dragon with Clamp Champ and Ninjor?
Oh. And here is one from Spain featuring Tower Tools, Randor, Rotar, Clamp Champ.
Skeletor tiene prisionero a Rey Randor, señor de Eternia. Los guerreros heroicos lo rescatarán. Capturator, maestro heroico de la captura, asegura la cuerda y He-Man parte con el Escalator, su equipo de escalada.
¡Salvado! ¡No escaparé!
Pero Rotar protege a sus amigos. Rey Randor, Capturator, Rotar y Escalator, el poder del universo de Mattel.
That's badass too.
Yeah.
A great rescue adventure with Clan Champ and Rotar.
Yeah, so I love that Clam Champ Ninja commercial.
Oh my god, I've watched it so many times, and you just can't help but feel like, yeah, Ninja and Clan Champ need to be like rivals, like Jitsu and Fisto. Oh hell, you got it brought up here.
Yeah. We covered this like ages ago where we went through it, so we won't sit here and like take our time going through it unless Tyler you kind of feel like talking about it, but kind of give us the history here that's how this came to pass.
Okay, well, for those who aren't aware, we had a listener named Carson Clint. I never could pronounce his last name correctly. He reached out to me after doing an episode and suggested, "How about what would you do for that Leech comic that was so bad? Like, come up with your own idea, and I'll illustrate it for you." So we did, and we actually sold the mini comic, and people seemed to like it a lot. And I had an idea about. I was like, Clam Champ and Ninja haven't really been given any kind of heavy storytelling. So I decided to make a story solely focused on the two of them, and he illustrated one or two pages, did layouts for the entire book, but then he just disappeared on me. We were going to do like live action movie tie-ins and all kinds of stuff, but unfortunately he just disappeared with no notice or anything like it. But the layouts and a couple of pages were completed, so that's what Nathan's pulling up here.
Yeah,
It was a 14-page mini comic.
2018, so this was 7 years ago. Just to put this into perspective of how like these projects didn't evolve into
Yeah,
more.
I've unfortunately been a part of a lot of fan projects that I was so excited and thinking, oh, this is really going to happen. And I was fortunate to have the Leech mini comic come out, and people liked that one a lot. And then that this one was in the beginnings of like, this is going to get made. We're going to sell it and let show fans like, hey, here's some more fun stuff. And I threw in a reference to Caverns of Fear here. Like the story takes place in the cavern below Castle Grayskull, and there's some of this was going to be no dialogue, like very minimal dialogue. It's going to be like just actions. The dialogue was going to be quite minimal in this story. There'd be a little bit at the end. I was inspired by Rambo 3 when I wrote this. Like when Rambo's running around in the cave and maiming all the Russian soldiers, I thought I'm gonna have Ninjor like running around the caverns here, taking out the royal guards, and it's gonna come down to him and Clamp Champ in this battle inside the cave there, and people are going to get hurt. Like Royal Guardsman gets an arrow in his leg. Clanchett covers his mouth to get him to be quiet and pulls the arrow out of his hamstring. One guy this guard gets sliced in the back. He's like wandering on the water, and there's a serpent sliding around there, and Clanchett comes in the waterfall behind him, pulls out the katana and just slices him in the back, and just taking him out. One after like systematically, and just to where it's just down to Clamp Champ and Ninjor, and pulls him out of the water, and this massive serpent comes out of the water to get Clamp Champ. And Carson did a good job with the serpent. Like he made him quite vicious, and it's looking like it's going to be the end for Clamp Champ. And Ninjor's watching and almost wants to kind of like put a nail in the coffin here, and the senses kick in, and he hears it and pulls the monster forward, so the arrow penetrates the head of the beast, which shocks the hell out of Ninjor. And just that right there, like throws the katana sword down. He breaks the sword, or as a warning, excuse me, like he's challenging him to combat. And I really wanted to build this up as like a great one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat fight. I mean, like fisticuffs. You start with the weapons, then you get down to bare hands, and really build these two up as enemies. And that Ninjor is not someone to be trifled with. Like he takes out the pincer and just kicks the fuck out of Clan Champ, but he gets up. Like, all right, we got a fight going here, and
wipes the blood off his mouth.
Yeah, and that he ends up breaking the sword, Ninjor's katana sword, and then it's get down to like, okay, now it's just bare hands and kicks, and Carson did a fantastic job. Like I had an idea of what I want. I was very specific with the punches and the actions and the kicks, and I swear he nailed every one of them. Like the ninja star, a shuriken, like throwing right into his leg, that he nailed that perfectly. the elbow punch. Like I was thinking about Muay Thai fighting. Like I just thought that flying elbow into Clamp Champ's face, and then like why would any warrior call you Clamp Champ? And that's where I really wanted to build up the grip, you know, of like I made sure that Ninja used everything from the bow and arrow, the nunchucks, and the katana sword. Everything he came with would be featured in the story. So I just looking back at this, I'm just like so upset this thing did not get finished. And then yeah, he breaks, sneaks around, and just puts this massive sleeper hold on Ninjor and knocks him unconscious. And I really wanted to include the gyro attacker since that was used very minimal in one mini comic. And Lizard Man is the one jumping off the gyro attacker. So He-Man and Lizard Man are coming to help out. And just the Book of Magic was the book that Ninjor had stolen, which is a reference to the Dragon's Gift. And the dialogue was, pretty much there to kind of allude to, he's down there, and then he vanishes, like that he's not dead or anything like that. That this feud will continue between the two. So
Yeah.
was that? Did I just feel like I'm just rambling?
No,
off?
yeah. Well, that sucks. We were robbed.
Yeah,
man, those were
awesome, man. Like
awesome.
we had a lot of, there was a lot of possibilities with that, because that Leech mini comic did really well for something that was so under the radar, and people wanted to buy copies. Or I gave out copies to some people.
Yeah, I have one. Of course.
Yeah, Nathan's got one. Erica's got one. I just wanted to put the word out, like, hey, if you liked, I gave one to Val Staples. Like, I just wanted people to like hear. Danielle, she loved the story too. So I thought that the Clamp Champ Ninja story would have been a great follow up for characters that didn't get a whole lot.
Yeah.
And like I said, we wanted to do a movie tie-in and have one devoted to Blade, Sorog, Gwildor, and the back of the comics would all unite to make the Cosmic Key. Like if you wanted the full image, that's what we had in mind. It was like to encourage people to want to buy all four. It was going to be 4 mini comics, and you had to buy all 4 for the Cosmic Key to be made on the back of the mini comics, and they would all be stories that would be prequel stories leading up to the live action movie. That was something we talked about doing as well. And
JSP's got a copy of your
all right
comic.
Well, I'm glad to know that that you still have it as well. So I'm glad people hopefully aren't using it for door stops or toilet paper.
It says shop this mini comic to other artists to see if it can be completed. And we'll circle back around to that because Brad Collins had a question in regards to that. I will move over to some comments that we got last week. So I encourage all of you, if you're not here joining us live, if you want to leave a comment, I'll start reading these towards the end of the show while we're reading questions from the live chat. So going back, you had mentioned Andrew. In England, my Moss Man and 2 others that friends owned didn't smell. I had Stinkor that smelled of patchouli, but not too strong. I bought a patchouli deodorant years ago and wear it when I feel extra nostalgic for Masters. My 2 boys recently made Stinkor plant pots with patchouli plants in, and I just bought a Stinkor minifigure for the Masters Battleground board game. So I kind of posed that question to him in regards to Moss Man, I guess Stinkor to an extent too. Do you think that there was a period of time where there's some Mossman figures that just didn't have the scent because they just didn't want to produce anymore with the smell? Is that kind of the thing?
No, I guess I'm thinking about the one, like the first one I got didn't smell at all. It may have been just a production error. There may have been some out there that just either it didn't cling to them, or when he finally got his, usually when you open up that package, like that smell just hits you right in the face. I mean, my Stinkor did when I got him.
Yeah.
But I'd say if his had the misfortune of not having that pine scent, then I mean, well, hell, the Mossman I got over here with the card that was cut out so you could remove the figure in the mini comic, he still smelled, and I got that back in the early 2000s. Like my dad picked that up, and he still smelled pine fresh in there. Not intense, but it was still there.
I mean, maybe it could be a thing too, like in the UK and other countries, it wasn't as implemented as strongly as it was here in the States too. So thank you for that and for joining us live today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for your support, Andrew.
Brian Clifton, as someone as passionate about DC Comics as Tyler is about Masters, the Superman movie was amazing to him, but not perfect. I felt like it felt like a comic come to life. It's a movie I would take my grandkids to. I also run a GameStop and have seen kids come in and want Superman toys. It's nice to leave a theater happy. Even my wife liked it. I think it's just interesting to see the kids are wanting to buy figures from a movie, because movie figures for the
Tend to
longest
clog
time
up the
now,
aisles. They have been
like,
for
yeah.
years.
Yeah. Mike Lomax, my first time catching the podcast live, it really made the difference for me. See you both on the next episode. So he left a comment after the fact, but was lingering around live. So I asked what felt different watching it live. Can't put his finger on it. I've always enjoyed watching anything live, if it be on the TV or seeing a music act, something I have not done in years. I guess I have filled the void of that by watching live podcasts or latest toy reveals. So that kind of got me thinking. There was actually a video that I watched on YouTube a couple days prior to this. So I responded, that makes sense. I think it's the old sense of community we used to have when there weren't as many TV channels and a lot of people were watching the same thing at the same time. In addition to, if you missed it live, you would have to wait however long for a rerun or have to hear about it from someone else about what happened. So catching it while it was happening was something special. And I think that's something that we kind of miss now. It's like with streaming, like people pose the question all the time. It's like, well, what is particularly popular? Like people really like Severance on Apple TV, but is everyone watching it? No. You look at before, it's like MASH. MASH is going to end. There's like 80 million people are watching that while it's going on. So you're lacking that sense of community all around. But in the same way, now those people that have more niche stuff like Masters of the Universe kind of have more of that community than they ever had before. So
yeah, you pretty much had to go with what the mainstream was about, and that was it. Like so, and you have to rely on like friends, people you knew who shared like those niche things like Dungeons and Dragons or comic books or love for Star Wars when the stuff wasn't popular anymore.
Yeah,
you know, and that was it. You know, if it wasn't a mainstream team, I mean, back then, you know, where movies, TV, and music, they provided the pop culture. That was it.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have internet to showcase a guy that lives in another continent is doing something that you really enjoy, and you'd rather watch that than the latest, you know, who gives a rat's ass Thursdays on NBC. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's like catching music videos. Like you couldn't go to YouTube and just pick and choose what you wanted.
You had to sit and wait.
You had to sit and wait. Yeah, I remember specifically. I was sick. I stayed home that day, and the Def Leppard track on the Last Action Hero soundtrack came out, and I really liked that song, and it was playing in rotation on MTV. So I just sat and I waited because I wanted to record it from my boombox, the TV audio, just so I would have the song so I could listen to it and I wouldn't have to wait anymore, right? Finally came. I'm playing it. I'm really excited about it. I go to turn the volume up on the remote, and I accidentally hit wasn't the channel change button, but it was like the return button, which would switch you to the channel that you were on previously.
Oh, yeah.
And it switched back to Price is Right. So there's like a little audio of Bob Barker saying something, and then it switches back to the song. I was like, no, I ruined it. I'm going to have to wait again and re-record it. But yeah, just a lot of that is lost now with modern technology. But one positive, like I said, we kind of gain more of a sense of community. So it's like someone likes Master Universe, they can go to YouTube and look up stuff, which I think is kind of a way between Facebook groups and stuff over the years. Is kind of how we've built up the fan base that we do have.
I mean, without it, we wouldn't be where we are today. There's always pros and cons to technology. And I think it dilutes a lot of stuff, but it also brings a lot of people together, you know.
That it does. Drawing by hand. I remember buying Moss Man in '87. Can't believe it came out in '85. Love the artwork of Moss Man and Triclops on the card back. And Moss Man smelled good. I mean, that pine smell is just...
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Stinkor never owned him. The Stench of Evil wasn't too bad, but I still remember the book. Glad I've got the Dark Horse hardcover mini comic book, and Tyler mentioned earlier that you said it's out of print? And it's super expensive now?
I know it's not cheap because I assumed it was out of print. Like, if there's any copies left, it's because of, someone selling copies. I don't think it's in current print anymore. I don't
Okay.
think. I could be wrong. I
And
just feel like the
then
last time it was looked up, it was really, really expensive.
and then went on to say the last convention I went to was in 2018 to meet the cast of Arrow here in the UK. The queues, the lines were long and stressful, so kind of had a similar experience with
God.
with your Heroes Con thing there. So those were
Yeah.
some of the comments that we got on the video last week. And coming back to this, and it's kind of funny how it's like poetry. Some of these questions that circle
Yeah.
back around to some of the things. Johnny's saying here, any childhood purchase where you felt like you got swindled because you didn't understand how things were sold separately? Mine. I used my Chinese New Year money to buy a Lego Space monorail, and I think he continued that. But that was kind of piggybacking off of the thing you were talking about, that your brother would get the better toy. But was there anything that you bought that when you got home you felt swindled by? Continued. I bought a box of monorail track expansion set. So yeah, just something that you think you're getting one thing, but it
Yeah.
turns out that you're missing something else.
Not really. It was more about thinking I'm getting a great toy, and when I get home and open it up, it was underwhelming. And then, like, I can think of two occasions where I looked at my brother like he picked a better toy than I did, and I didn't realize it, until I got home. One was the Marvel superheroes line that Toy Biz put out. I got Mr. Fantastic because I was crazy about the Fantastic Four, and I thought, oh, he stretches and everything. He's gonna be great. And Derek got Thor. I got home and I stretched around like, "Mm, this is not blowing my skirt up here." And I look over and like Thor has got his Mjolnir and he just looks awesome, ready to fight, kick some ass. And like, Derek picked a better toy. I wouldn't have thought Thor would have been better than Mr. Fantastic. I was like, this sucks. And you want to trade? He's like, no, I'm good. And then I bought Leatherhead when he came out from the Turtles Vintage line. I'm still Leatherhead fanatic to this day, but Derek bought Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, you definitely didn't get
I
the right
botched
figure
that
there.
one big time because I was just, oh, I have to have Leatherhead, and I wanted Usagi also, but at that moment, like, and it was at Hills, and we got
Mhm.
home.
You
I get
can't stand
Leatherhead
him
out.
up straight.
I can't. Yeah, he's very low to the ground.
Yeah, he's
and-
just straight. He's just
yeah,
vertical.
and I look at
or
Usagi,
horizontal.
he got various swords. He stands upright, looks like a badass, and like,
Mhm.
oh my god, what have I done?
Leatherhead's one of my least favorite vintage turtle figures because it's
I-
just it sucks. You can't do much with him.
I get it, but I love that portrayal. I like that one better than the comic book version. I love the Cajun Gator who's got a grudge against the turtles. But those are two examples. And of course, when I picked Jackalman over Beastman at Toys R Us in like '87 or early '88, and I got in the car and was regretting that purchase all the way home,
Yeah,
like because I didn't have a Beastman in my entire childhood. Like
yeah.
it was heartbreaking. So there's a couple stories like that. There's a couple there to
I don't
know.
think there was a time where I felt swindled. I think it's much like Tyler. It's like getting something and you're disappointed with it, especially video games. Video games could be one
Oh yeah.
if you're just purchasing it and not renting it. But even
Well, see, I
then,
wouldn't purchase
rent-
something I hadn't already played, and I
Yeah.
only owned two or three video games,
Yeah.
as a child. It was always rented. But to that though, like if you rented it and it sucked, you're stuck with it for the weekend.
yeah,
Like you don't get to go back and like, oh, you didn't like that, Tyler? We'll go back and get you something else you like. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's you made your choice. Now sleep with it.
yeah. There was nothing I ever felt swindled by though. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of always felt like what I was getting into. It was just sort of having the disappointment, much like Tyler had. Is the action feature wasn't what you thought it was going to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's something that, or I would be bothered that if a character you couldn't bend his knees. Like I was so used to GI Joes being so articulated.
Mhm.
When I got the RoboCop figure from the Ultra Police line, like, all right, he fires cast, and I get him open. Like you can't bend his arms, you can't bend his knees. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, he's pretty.
He's
yeah.
just like this. I'm like,
Yeah.
I hated figure, and of course the Ghostbusters were like that. It didn't bother me when I was that little, but when you start to get because GI Joe like that set the standard for articulation as a kid. So anything that
Yeah.
you couldn't bend their knees or at the elbows was like this is a block. You
Yeah,
can't do anything with it.
yeah,
And it just that's why the Marvel superheroes line by Toy Biz and the X-Men line that they did, you could bend the knees and you can bend at the elbows, and it added extra articulation for like action poses to punch and kick and things like that. And
yeah.
I was like, man, if they don't have this, like this just sits on the shelf in a very sterile pose, and it's disappointing, man. Or if you got like, do you remember this tournament, the trash bag bunch? They
No.
were they were these. It was like Monster in My Pocket, but you got a trash bag that you put in water and it dissolved, and you get this cool looking character. But you never knew who you're going to get till you got home and put it in water, and let the trash bag would dissolve, and it would have like this
That's
creature or this cybernetic human being or something like that.
so it was the first like of its kind in that way. And now they do all those mystery bags and shit.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah, there you go.
yeah, yeah. That's it. And it was all these various characters, monsters, and things, and you would put it in water, and you just sit there like, who am I going to get? And of course, you didn't know who anyone was. It was just it could be a monster, could be a human with weapons. It was a fun gimmick though, and it was cheap. So
I'll bring
that
up
like
another.
Monster in My Pocket.
I'll bring up another photo that has like everybody
Okay.
listed. That's what I meant to do. I want to highlight this. Tom's here in the chat. So hey, Tom.
Hey Tom,
Good
how
to
the
see
hell
you.
are you, man?
We'll have you on soon. We'll get a date tapped for. We'll spoil it for people. What we want to do with Tom is a tier list of celebrities we have met at conventions. Probably
Yeah,
someone's like, yeah,
from
that sucks.
bad to good experiences.
Yeah. Tom already sent me like this massive list. I'm like, yeah, well, I think we'll just do like 10, 15 each. I mean, it was like 50
Well,
names.
yeah, because I
We'll
think for me
cherry
and
pick
Nathan
from
both,
it.
like we've met a lot of people too, and it just we need to really get it narrowed down to like the best of the best and the worst of the worst, like 5 great and 5 bad or something like that.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and I'll show this off that Tyler was talking about. I don't remember this at all. So it's interesting that you brought
But there
these
were
guys
commercials
up.
for it. That's how I found out about it. And see, there's just this wide variety of
Dr.
they're
Sheen, a whitewasher. That's probably a bad
yeah,
name.
Captain Collector,
Yeah.
Sergeant Waste Not was one of the ones I had. I didn't remember him.
Biodegrader.
Yeah.
Slobber.
Garbeast was one that I had, and Sewer Rat was one my brother had. And then
Sewer Rot.
Sewer Rot. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Yeah, Plutor, I had him, and I had Muckoid.
Stink Buzzard. What? All right.
Yeah, they're just
I mean,
random.
it's cool. It's a
Yeah,
fun little.
it was a great gimmick because it was like they're cheap, and they're you can't do anything with the pose was. They're much like the gut figures that do you remember the gut figures?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like those, or Monster in My Pocket. They're just you can't pose them, but they look cool. So
Brad Collins said this swings back into the mini comic stuff. In Tyler's Leech mini comic, we see unproduced Clamp Champ versus mini comic teaser, and then we showed the Ninjor deal. I know we talked about it years ago, but how do we make this a reality for Tyler? Would you guys know roughly how much we would need to raise and have Ren or Kevin, whoever would love to get this made? So I don't know.
I mean, Kevin does work for me right now. He's actually working on a new He-Man commission for me right now. I'd love to have.
Is that something you would like? Is that something you think Kevin would want to be up the task of doing, like a mini comic?
Hey, he loves drawing He-Man and getting paid for it. So it would really be up to people who would want to, because it's not cheap. If you want like a 6-page, or excuse me, a 6-character illustration costs $400 with background and everything. That's not including inking and coloring. But if people wanted to get together and put together, some sort of, I don't know, like a fund to push to Kevin, because I don't need the money. I would want all money going to Kevin.
That is also the thing too. When Tyler was doing these, that he was the one making any of the money from it. Tyler got nothing from it. He's just like, I want my creativity put to paper and just put out there for people.
That's it. I get Carson the money.
Tyler he doesn't want any of the money for it. He's like, I want people to see it. And that's
that's it. He's right. I've never wanted money for anything I've done in He-Man. People who paid me to do things He-Man related, like I got paid for it. I'd have done it for free.
Yeah.
For a couple of things. But that was one, it was just me and him, and the money that we got, it went to him because he was drawing it, he was printing it, he was shipping them out, and then the ones he gave me, I shipped out, and I paid for the shipping and all that stuff too. It was just more putting quality He-Man stuff out there. So
Yeah.
it'd be more about paying Kevin and getting him to do it. And you know, if you guys want to think about, or us worked, all of it, any of us work together about trying to put something like that together. Kevin draws Clamp Champ quite well, and he's drawing Ninja quite well. He's actually, Ninja was featured in this upcoming commission he's doing for me right now.
All right.
It's a Clash of the Titans inspired commission.
Maybe that's something, because you always send me like some of the like almost done that when you get them.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't share this one with you. Kevin
Yeah,
did this for me
go
back-
ahead and send it to me, and we'll put it on the screen for everyone at home so they can get an idea of that. And I'll read off
Yeah.
a couple more things here. Andrew piping in. I was born in 1980 in the UK and don't remember Clamp Champ. Great character. That's got to be the biggest thing, is just going towards the end of that line. Just all those characters for the most part, unless it was like, I mean, obviously people know Sorceress and they know King Randor, but anyone else,
Yeah.
I think, really fell through the cracks there for a lot of people if they weren't heavily invested in the line towards the end, or much like you, catching it in stores well after the fact, discounted down and cleared out,
or you
just to
see
get rid of it.
snippets of it, and you're like, "Oh my god, where can I find this guy?" And then next thing you know, all of a sudden, He-Man's not available to buy anymore.
Yeah. Let's see. Crom's Mountain. I want that "I have the power" soundbite as my text message alert.
Oh, I know, it's badass, isn't it?
Isn't it? I want to talk about that. Ringtones and text alerts. I was all about that for a period of time, and
Yeah,
now it's just
so
like
was
my phone's on vibrate, so none of that matters anymore to me. Oh yeah, these are great.
These are just the pencils, but
Yeah.
and I want to have them inked. He's done one inking for me of a Marvel commission he did for me, but I do want to have him inked. One of these is a double page spread. The other one is just single page, but they're not inked or colored. But my goal is to have all the ones he's done for me in the last year, get them all inked and hopefully colored as well.
Let's see. Let me relabel these.
Trying to find if there's any others here I haven't shared. I know I've shared the Beanstalk of Evil with you guys, I think.
All right, here is Kevin's art. You guys want to check this out? Move this out of the way again.
Yeah. The Fright Zone didn't get used a whole lot in terms of like what it was meant for. So I was like, let's see the Fright Zone being used and everything involved there. So we got Clamp Champ fighting Grizzlor. I had Mosquito like added some wings to him because like Mosquito should have wings. So I had Kevin put on some insect or some mosquito wings and have him hovering above the beast monster. Rio Blast is trapped by the tree. We got Modulot kind of overseeing, like he's calling the shots in this particular battle. We got He-Man ripping the gate off the prison and shoving it into the mouth of the beast monster. Squinch from the Widgets. I was like, no one's ever drawn the Widgets, so like, I want to see a Squinch in this. So I have Squinch escorting these two princess prisoners here out of the prison cell with Dylamug and Scorpia ready to pounce on them as they come out, thinking like, you're not getting out of here. So I pretty much put everything in absolute peril. Like, how are they going to get out of this? How is He-Man's foot in the rock trap? How is he going to, the beast monster's trying to eat him? Like, how is anybody going to get out of it? And that's what I like to see in He-Man illustrations, pitting the odds against the heroes.
Yeah.
And you got to have beautiful women represented in there somehow, just like Conan and all those awesome paintings. And this was at the Red Falls of Snake Mountain. I used Jane Seymour from Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger as my version of Lady Amanda, who's just name checked in one episode. And I gave her a Busby because I thought the Busby was like a really cute character, like her own personal pet. So I have Thunder Punch He-Man clashing with Too Bad, Buzz Off fighting Scareglow, and then up top there is Webster getting ready to pounce on Lady Amanda from trying to escape there.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, just stuff that I put together. Like I want to see this. I want to see this character, and nobody draws Too Bad better than Kevin Sharp, man. I swear to God, he draws the best. He did this one page splash of Too Bad like running, and I'm like, my God, like I just love how he draws Tuvar and Badger, and Two Bad is also featured in this this current commission he's doing for me as well. You know, it's in the Clash of the Titans throwback. So it's I love coming up with ideas for him to draw, man. It's an expensive drug, but you know, I'm like, man, I only owe it to make my ideas come to life. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No,
and Mattel's not there to say no, that's not pussified enough. You know,
going back to feeling swindled and cheapened out, Johnny saying here, TMNT vehicles are really disappointing for me too. The fact that my party wagon didn't have a steering wheel really cheapened the experience for me.
I never had it, but I think I could see that because there's nothing on the inside of it at all. It's just a yellow box. You just set them in there, and a lot of vehicles were like that. Unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of great interiors to the cockpit or the back of it as well. Like, but I've often would fantasize about what do they look like on the inside or the place. What's like on the backside of that? That
Yeah.
kind of thing. And unfortunately, your imagination gets really crazy coming up with all these ideas, and you get it like, oh my god, like that's it. Like,
That's it.
so yeah.
Yeah. I remember being a little slightly disappointed with the party wagon too. It's like, all right, it'll just sit here off to the side. I'll just play with the sewer
Yeah.
playset, which was for as small as that playset was, it was pretty awesome.
Oh,
Just having,
amazing.
like, yeah, that top level, and then of course we have our
Yeah,
our-
the elevator and their layer downstairs. I mean, it would have been great to have had I had that in my heyday of being a Turtles fan, to reenact the live action movie.
Mhm.
Like they had the foot soldiers go down in the sewer and take Splinter.
Have your
They
one
come-
foot soldier go and take
Yeah,
Splinter.
my one foot soldiers like constantly like because that's what it was.
Yeah.
So and have them confront Shredder on top of the sewer to kind of reenact the rooftop battle. But I would have had them defeat Shredder because as a kid I wasn't too happy with Splinter being the one to beat the Shredder. I was like, no, I want the Turtles to do it.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, you're like, no, it's badass to have Splinter beating the Shredder. Like it's the way it ought to be.
Yeah. Johnny also remember the Playmates Star Trek
Yes.
toys where if you wanted to pose the legs, they could only be bow legged. Yeah.
Just, all those ridiculous variants. Like, who the hell's buying this for their kids? Oh, my son likes turtles, so I'm going to get him a Leonard Nimoy, Donatello. Like,
Yeah.
like, gee, thanks. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
He'd go great in the toy box at the bottom.
Um, yeah, we kind of in modern toys with like modern Marvel Legends and stuff. We really haven't made with all the articulation and poses we can
Yeah.
make with figures.
But
these
I
days.
was fine with that. Like Turtles didn't bother me with the articulation.
Yeah, I
Didn't
was
bother
too.
me. But when you get spoiled by how awesome GI Joe was, and then Toy Biz is putting out superhero toys where you could bend at the knees and elbows, and then Batman toys, Toy Biz put out those, and they bend
Yeah.
at the knees, and then Kenner puts them out, and they don't bend at the knee or nothing. They just stand
Yeah.
there and and like yeah, it's Silverhawks repackaged, but still, it's like I got a Batman figure where his knees bend and he can bend at the elbow and throw punches and stuff like that. Like. It sucks.
It sucks, man. JSP silly question: what is Clamp Champ's strength class?
I would put him definitely several notches because no one's going to compare to He-Man. He would be below Fisto. That's how I would put him because Fisto has that fist that could, smash through brick walls and everything like that. I would put Clamp Champ right below that in terms of like strength.
You know what? That's actually an interesting thing that maybe we should do that in the future and make it look sort of like a tier list, but change it to strength class and take all these characters and see how they rank.
I even
strength-wise.
come up with like how like on Marvel Universe trading cards used to have their stats of like strength, intelligence, speed, and things like that. Like, and you would kind of rank. It would be like ranked for like 1 to 7.
JSP, thank you. We were kind of looking for something, and Tyler and I have been talking about this for a while. It's like, yeah, we have the Kumites and we have the tier list. I want to do something that's like outside the box, but within that realm, and that perfect.
Yeah,
Tyler,
and then of course I had to
perfect.
put Cyclone. Actually, I'd probably put Cyclone, maybe above Fista because we're talking about someone who can turn himself to a human tornado, and pretty much dismantle anything and everything in its path.
I
But in
think we
terms
got
of like going fist to fist, like hand to hand, like He-Man's 1, Fist would be number 2, Clan Champ be number 3.
Let's do that. Strength, intelligence. We'll make them like you said, the back of the Marvel cards.
Yeah.
But we'll look sort of like a tier list. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That would be an
Yeah.
awesome idea. We could
Another idea to spawn right here live, people.
and we can do that.
Pay to give us feedback, give us thoughts and things like that. Your idea could become an idea for a future show.
And we can do it by it's like Heroic Warriors as an episode, then Evil Warriors as an episode.
Yeah.
So we can
And we cover
spread
the
it
Horde,
out.
and we cover the Snake Man. And,
Yeah. Excellent. I will mark that down for topic lists on my phone, and we'll get that set up, and probably within the next month or so we'll make that happen. Maybe even sooner than later. Tom, going back, never. Let's do all of them. Tom, we can't do all 50.
but Tom, Tom's like you, stays up all night, doesn't sleep, and he could just go all night, just keep going. But some of us have to sleep.
And then went to say, my friend gave me a full set of carded Star Trek toys from Playmates, and we got to say, much like starting lineup, those things aren't worth dick.
Yeah,
I see those at flea markets and antique shops constantly.
I remember I did buy one because when I dabbled in a little bit of Star Trek, what's his name from the Undiscovered Country, the one that Christopher Plummer plays. He plays the oh shit, I forgot what his name was. He's the God. I just thought I really liked his character in that movie. Can't remember the name.
Star Trek 6.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Because I've only watched Wrath of Khan and Star Trek 6. Those are the only movies that I've watched. It's got the name of the damn race he's part of too. It's the ones that Klingon.
Chang.
Yeah, General Chang. Yeah. He was really good in that, and I bought it like dirt cheap, and I had it on display for like a couple months, and I was like, well, I'm putting this up with a bunch of other stuff I just don't have room for anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much shit that you and I both have just packed away that's not on display.
I can't do it all anymore. I can't, and I'm at peace with that.
Yeah, I am too.
If I can talk about it and have someone draw it for me, I'm good.
Yeah, but then you're gonna run out of space for the drawings too. Then are you just gonna make like a coffee table book that's just like a binder that
would be cool to do that. I just rotate. I just put images in behind the others.
Okay. So you just
like the ones I have over here. I've got artwork behind like one. Sometimes I just don't have room for all of them. Fair. Here's another one. I get like a one that Kevin did for me of like in front of like the live action Grayskull. I've got Clamp Champ, Lizard Man, Huntara, Ceratus, and Garn from the Slave City mini comic, all tag team with Thunder Punch He-Man in front of the live action Grayskull. Like, I just wanted to see these characters represented. Like, I want to see what it looks like, and they all look badass as they should. I got Thundercat crossovers with He-Man and Groon and
that's
stuff
great,
like that.
They're making action figures for that right now.
Oh, I know. Don't they look amazing?
I don't want to get you started on that again. Well, Tyler, before we go ahead and bounce out of here, any more final thoughts? Anything else you'd like to say about Clamp Champ?
I'm just thankful to have this opportunity to talk about him and celebrate him, and hopefully encourage people to seek out, come up with your own ideas and thoughts on the character, about his feud with Ninjor, or where you think he comes from, where he sits in the mythology in terms of importance. I just feel like there's a lot to be had with this character, and much like everybody else, it's this property is filled with characters that there's so much more to it than just Beastman and Man at Arms over and over again. A lot more other buddies and allies for He-Man, Skeletor, and the Horde and the Snake Men to all bring in and engage in battles and develop personalities that make them relatable or enjoyable. And Clamp Champ should be up there at the top. Just a wonderful character, and just like most of it does not get the attention and affection I think the character deserves. But and if you don't really care for the character, then I really don't care for you.
But that's what we're here for, is to bring attention to the characters.
That's
that didn't get
it. We're not doing this for glory and fame. It's just trying to get people to understand there's so much more to this property than just the basics or a toy. There's so much more to this stuff, and that's all we're here for, is to encourage you to seek the stuff out, get you excited about it, and seek out that toy, that mini comic, that movie, or whatever the case may be. Or seek out Kevin Sharp's artwork.
There you go.
Yeah.
Make him too busy to where he doesn't have time to draw
Yeah,
anything
because
for
it's,
Tyler.
it's hard enough when he tells me he gets backed up on various other projects. I'm like, great. Now I got to wait like another month for this idea. And then by that point, I've changed my mind. I want to do something else.
See, then it circles back around. So it's much like the money orders and everything back in the day and waiting for the package. This is the adult version of
Yeah.
Now you gotta
I'm
wait.
waiting for Kevin to like, hey, I'm just waiting for that update.
Yeah, you're like Gangrel by the phone, man. Just
Yeah.
waiting for that call.
Waiting to get that call. I'm waiting for that message. Like, it's Kevin.
Triple H wants me to make an appearance.
He wants me to job to this guy. I'll be there tomorrow.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this deep dive into Clamp Champ and all the various things that we discussed along the way. Thanks to all of you for the comments and questions in the chat. Like I said before, if you didn't join us live, leave a comment down below. We'll read it on the following episode. If you haven't done so already and you're new here, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until later, let the power return.
I can't let you in there. Heineman's on his way down. Heineman can kiss my sweet ass. Come on.
You've watched this plenty of times.
You've watched it, and you actually watched it fairly recently, and then you and I did a discussion on it many years ago. Just you and I as well. You don't know what you're doing, Harrigan. You ruin everything. Fuck yourself. That's another quote from the same movie.
You're saying, oh, the JSP already bounced in. I'm like, yeah, Predator 2.
Yeah, that's it. Well done, JSP.
Once again, people need to, if you shat on it before, give it a rewatch. I think you really need to change your mind about
Yeah,
Predator
people,
2.
I think it's starting to come around a little bit more in recent years. People are starting to recognize that Predator 2 it was a great film when it first came out, and knowing that they continue to make shitty Predator movies left and right nowadays, like, it just makes Predator 2 look even more better than it already was.
Even more better. Tom got it too.
Yeah, Predator 2. It's you know what, we can set that for another discussion where we can just praise the hell out of Danny Glover's performance and Gary Busey and how awesome Kevin Peter Hall was as the Predator, and the score by Alan Silvestri. Like, it's vicious, it's mean, and I love every minute of it.
Well, with that said, Ty and I actually got to talk about this after the show, because depending on timing, I don't know if you'll catch us next week, but with me having my summer shutdown break from work, we're going to have some Friday shows again, everyone. So look forward to that. And maybe if we can get the timer down, maybe we get some bonus stuff in there. We discussed this because I'm like, should we talk about like a comic book, or should we talk about a movie? But no, we're just kind of like really happy right now.
Just having fun talking about He-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while since the channel's just kind of had like a consistent Master Universe conversation weekly. But yeah, soon enough we'll get a movie or a comic or something in there for you. But we will go ahead and get out of here. Hope everyone enjoyed this. We'll catch you soon.
Take care, everyone.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.